All of this as Trump faces his second brush with death via a gunman shooting at him in Palm Beach, Florida, just as happened in Pennsylvania, neither of whom were Haitian or any kind of immigrant, both of whom are white, American, Trump-supporting men with guns.
I mean is, look, when you've had this kind of language about somebody be the underpinning of a campaign for years and intensely for the last several months, the only way to unwind it is for the people who've been saying it, chiefly the president and the vice president, to go on TV and say, you know what? We went too far, and what we said, honestly, is not true. The country will not end.
Okay, I think the Democrats will tamp down their language about Trump. The moment Trump tamps down his language about the Democrats, about immigrants, about people of color, about women, and not a moment before.
What about how many times are we going to shoot at him?
Is your argument literally
Wait a minute, but
that you are not under threat unless somebody directly takes a shot at you? Is that actually what you're saying? Do you have access to Secret Service files about how many threats Harris and Biden have received over the past year? How many threats Barack Obama, the first black president, received for 8 years while he was in the White House? Do you have those Secret Service files, or are you just out here talking because somebody was caught in the bushes on Saturday?
Somebody.
If you want something done, if you want to get away from this violence and hatred, the clearest thing to do is to take away the weapons that these people are using to cause the violence and hatred. Rhetoric does not kill people. Guns do.
What's up, y'all? Gerald here, creator of Gospel Chops and your host for this YouTube channel, back with another video. Now here we are, only hours after the second attempt on the life of former President Donald Trump. And it seems that the liberals are on the hunt. They're on the take. They're after your guns once again. And it's incredible to hear these arguments from the left unleashed all over again. It seems like it doesn't really matter what the circumstance is. If a kid goes to a school, shoots up the school, a leftist transformer kid, they want to take your guns. If a leftist shoots at the former president that they hate, and some of them, I would argue, want to see him unalived, they still use the circumstance to come after your guns. It seems like, y'all, they would use any circumstance to come after your guns. And as much as we as content creators on them folks' platform appreciate the First Amendment, well, thank God we got the Second Amendment when the first don't work too well. And I think that's the way the founding fathers intended it. What say you, y'all?
With you. It's, I think we should all question the rhetoric. The problem is that Donald Trump, who I think, if you were doing hurricane categories, he's on hurricane category 5, whereas the other side might be a 2. And Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are not questioning the rhetoric. Right now, because of their rhetoric, because of what he said in that debate, there's been 33 bombing threats in Springfield, Ohio, that would not have happened but for this false conspiracy theory being spread by the vice presidential and presidential Republican candidate. And those Haitians in Springfield, Ohio, and those students and the people that are victims of these threats and everything that's going on there don't have 24/7 Secret Service, right? They're on their own.
I remember so well July 13th. And I remember the conversations in the days that followed. I remember President Biden's speech about toning down the rhetoric. And I saw the rhetoric toned down on both sides. And then 20 minutes into his acceptance speech, Donald Trump turned up the volume. I'm not blaming him for what happened. Of course, in our country, you do not decide political disputes through violence. But the problem is that we have too much hate speech right now, and we are creating.
Give me an example. What do you mean by hate speech? Because I want to specifically know. Because I think I know what it is, but I'm interested in what you think about this. Because I agree with you. I do think we have too much hate speech. But give me an example.
I would say when you use the term vermin to describe your political opponents.
So you think it's Trump's fault that he got shot, or got shot, or
he just said that's what he wasn't thought.
Thank you, Scott. I won't step in that trap. That's not what I said. There is no place in this country for violence. But let's be honest about why we have so much tension in this country. When you dehumanize people, you are using the rhetoric of the 30s. I'm not going to say which country in the 30s, but when you dehumanize people, you make it easier for disturbed minds to do the wrong thing. And let me just remind you of something. In 2019, Donald Trump said that the internet is a dangerous avenue, okay, to radicalize disturbed minds. He was right.
Yeah.
And he should remind us.
None of this is new. And I do think there is a level of tolerance when it comes to violent speech about Trump. Since 2016, we had Kathy Griffith showing basically his head severed. There were people putting on Shakespeare in the Park plays where they had him as Julius Caesar.
Her career was kind of ruined after that. So there wasn't a lot of
But I think there's a level of violent rhetoric
it's been
that
normal.
has been directed at, but that's happened for 10 years.
It's been normalized, but it's been normalized and adopted as part of one party's platform for president this year. The country will cease to exist if Donald Trump wins. There will be no more democracy.
Joe Biden that may have been the Biden campaign. Listen, hey, look,
no. Why don't I get to finish? Everybody gets to finish.
No, go ahead.
Scott, let's let Scott finish, and then I have something to say.
You know, the Constitution won't exist. There'll be a bloodbath. He's going to be a dictator. When you effectively radicalize millions of people into believing that if an electoral outcome doesn't go our way, they're no longer going to be living in the country they thought they were, what do you expect to happen? Now, I agree with you. There is too much hate speech. I'm in total agreement with you. And I hear what you're saying. But I have to say, when I see what Democratic politicians say about Donald Trump, when I see what Democratic commentators say about Donald Trump, and their platform is built on a bunch of lies, frankly, that are designed to radicalize a political base, it makes me wonder, how much do they really care about the violence that you and I both agree is
Scott,
terrible?
I have that same question, you know, for Trump, because you're talking about, okay, this is Donald Trump on September 10th. That's 6 days ago. If she ever got elected, she'd change it. It will be the end of our country. She's Marxist. He shared a social media video of Joe Biden tied up in the back of a pickup truck. He's called his political opponents vermin. Trump is not the best messenger for this, but it isn't.
Well, you're a pretty good messenger when you get shot and then nearly get shot again. I think that makes you a fairly credible messenger.
For what?
Here's the conversation I think that Tim is trying to have, which is that this has been a political climate in the country writ large for almost a decade of heightened, political animosity. And a lot of people deserve blame for that, but Trump is not without, Trump's hands are not clean in this.
Are they? I'm just asking.
You're not saying it, are you? Because in my view, both candidates have actually said.
I guess I'm going to be the only one out here that's not going to blame Donald Trump for his two near assassinations.
No.
I mean, honestly,
it's not about.
He's the one being shot at. He's a target. He's not saying he can't even walk outside of his own house.
We started the conversation by saying,
at his own peril.
We started the conversation by saying that this is not about assigning political blame. Trump is the one today assigning political blame. He is assigning political blame.
Do you think he's earned any right to assign or ascribe blame to the two attempts on his life?
Wait, so if you get shot at, you can say that somebody should shoot my opponents? That's the rule. If somebody shoots at you, you can be like, oh, somebody should shoot at them. Because if you look at Trump's tweet today, what he said today was that Harris was an enemy from within and that she will destroy the country if she gets elected. Now, personally, I do not feel comfortable having yet another conversation about the horrible gun violence in this country without talking about the guns, because I agree with Tim. I want this political violence to stop. And to me, I would propose a solution to this. I call it the Protect Trump at all costs assault weapons ban. If we want to protect our political leaders, if we want to protect people who don't have an elite fighting force protecting them 24/7. One of the best things we can do, not just for Trump, but for all potential victims of gun violence, is to ban assault weapons, to ban the AR-14, and to ban the weapons of terror that these crazy people use to menace not just our leaders, but everybody else in the country.
Guns don't have radical ideology, but human beings do.
Okay, so ideologies kill people, not guns.
And this guy setting up shop in the bushes outside of a golf course, it wasn't the gun that made him do it.
Yeah,
something
instability.
Something got to this guy.
These people, both of these people were mentally unstable, and nobody prevented them.
He believed Donald Trump needed to be eliminated, and he almost did it. Thank God for the Secret Service. How many more attempts are we going to, how many more are we going to have?
That's the
We're already
point.
at 2.
I think that's
where
an
are you
important
gonna
point. We've had guns for a long time, unfortunately. There's always been a lot of mentally unstable people in the country.
Yes.
So what is it that's going on right now? And
There
I
are a
think
lot more guns now.
it is an issue. There aren't that many more guns than there were
there
a
are.
year
Yes,
ago.
there are.
A year
There are
ago.
more guns now.
When you look at where we are now, though, I mean, this is clearly a Secret Service issue. This is a failure, I think, on their part to not identify and then blame a slanted roof and shrubbery.
I think that you're exactly right. I mean, look, that's such an important part of this conversation. Again, there are issues here. There are issues at play. But I am actually genuinely baffled by the choice to, within 24 hours of this thing happening, make it about, blaming Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, who immediately condemned it and saying that they put this crazy guy up to this.
I think he's allowed to get freaked out. He has gotten shot at. So like, I'm kind of okay with that.
Of course, he's allowed to be freaked out, but to blame, but to say without any evidence that this was
he
because
should have shut up, right? He should have shut up because that doesn't help. And I think if you're being politically honest, the way I want to be politically honest right now, this has come from both sides of them. When we talk about the enemy of the state, this country will never be the same. Joe Biden has done that just as many times as Donald Trump has done that. And they both have said that. The one thing about Kamala Harris is I would say that she's actually tried to bring a little more levity to the country and to these conversations, which I think is useful.
It seems like the left is grasping at straws, looking for any argument to advocate for gun confiscation. Not only will they grasp at the straws, but they will use the straws that they grasp to create straw men and kick them down as hard as they can. Well, you keep on kicking, you keep on fighting, you keep on arguing, because what you're not going to do is change the Constitution. And it's pretty clear what it says: shall not be infringed. And we've seen in American society since the fallout of the New York Pistol and Rifle Association's v. Bruin decision from the SCOTUS. Especially in my state of California, y'all, they've been off the hook, doing everything they can to fight against that decision that didn't grant us our rights, but it reinforced our rights that were given to us by God. These people can argue all they want. They can talk all they want. It's just blowing hot air. They can search for any argument they wish. But it's pretty clear in this contentious society that we are faced with, y'all, that we need our 2A rights to be enforced. Because there's folks out here running around with AK-type weapons. They still haven't identified exactly what the weapon is that the attempted assassin used, but they claim it's an AK type, and they claim the serial number was scratched off. Y'all, this man had nefarious intentions, because that's the only reason you scratch off a serial number to a weapon. So don't blame law-abiding citizens for the nefarious acts of criminals. And when you look deeper into this story, y'all, it kind of reinforces the tinfoil hat theories and conspiracy theories that somebody in the government, someone in authority, someone with power wants this man out of the way, even to the point that it seems like they want to start World War III in order to keep this man from being elected the next president of the United States. Y'all, we are living in crazy times. There are wars and rumors of wars. Seems like the world is on fire. And I hope that you can stay as prayerful as I am in these times. But even as I pray, y'all, sometimes with one eye open, just looking around, scoping the situation, I know God got me, but God gave me common sense. I hope that you pray as much as I do. And I hope that you exercise those rights that are codified in the Constitution, because things are going to get crazy. We are less than 50 days from the election. And it is just my personal feeling, my intuition that things are going to get worse between now and then. It's already bad now. But who knows what is to come? Y'all, I hope you protect yourselves and protect your families. protect those that you love, and protect your communities. Well, fortunately for us, that document called the Constitution gave us the means to do just such things. We are not criminals. We are not ne'er-do-wells. We are not wrongdoers. We are simply concerned citizens who want to raise our children and our grandchildren in a society that is better than the one we were raised in. And to achieve those ends, y'all, we must fight. Y'all stay prayed up and stay armed up, because it seems like this ride we're on called life is about to get bumpy in the near future. Hold on tight. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video so we can get more people involved in the conversation, y'all. And like I always say, always remember and never forget, without the gospel, it's just chops. Until next time, peace.